Hello everybody, my name is Dusty, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a video that I didn't actually have planned. Somebody has suggested in the comments, and I thought, you know what, that's a good idea. So I was going to make a video about my African clawed frogs. I've been making or editing this video now for the last 3 days, but every time I get started, a new video idea pops up in the comment section, so thank you very much for commenting. I actually have another idea to expand onto my African clawed frogs video. I kind of want to make it a series now. I'm going to buy a grow your own frog kit and kind of show you guys that process, and then show you what the final product would be if you bought one of those kits. Now, in full disclosure, I have seen this video before. That's why I quoted it, made a video out of it a while ago, but I didn't actually show you guys the video and kind of talk about the parts that I thought were interesting and not so important. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to go through and kind of revisit that subject. Now, this video isn't actually about Taylor Nicole Dean, it's about the creator and kind of debunking her. So keep that in mind when we're watching this video. We're not really looking at Taylor Nicole Dean in general, we're looking at the creator and maybe even debunking why she has some issues with Taylor. Maybe they're personal issues rather than issues with her as a person. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alright guys, so this is the video. It's called Taylor Nicole Dean is an Animal Hoarder and Her Relationship with Johnny Craig is Not Goals. So as you can see, this has almost 500,000 views, which is absolutely insane. 20,000 likes, 5.7 thousand dislikes. It was published on November 10th. Almost a month ago. That's interesting. Small Beans Big D1. Let's see who she is. So it looks like her Twitter is honestly just a Taylor Nicole Dean bash page, to be completely honest. It doesn't look like she really has any other stuff on here but Taylor Nicole Dean stuff, so that's very interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual comments in this video. She loves the attention and the money she makes off her pets and viewers. Don't think she cares about anything else. Wait, did you just say 2-week-old kittens? That's super much too young. Okay. She got sent this thank you. Get crap. Okay, so this was one that I did actually like. I thought it was interesting. Not too long ago, I adopted 2 turtles off my friend's brother. I have studied marine biology and more a decent idea of what I was facing. They are doing perfect in an open air environment, and the correct UB adapting too many animals is bad. Really? I had no idea adopting too many animals was bad. I want to tell you how viral this video went. I have no idea who Taylor is. I've never seen a video of hers. I haven't heard of her before, but I clicked on it and I wanted to be informed about animal hoarding and such. I'm sure you're getting an insane amount of backlash. Don't let it hurt you. This information people need to know. Yeah, but it's different. It's not backlash because she's making a video about Taylor. It's backlash because she's not only making a video about Taylor, but she's also going into Taylor's personal life and calling her out on stuff. So, I guess we'll just have to watch the video again. Again, I did watch this video before, that's how I made my other video, but we'll go ahead and watch again.
If you Google animal hoarding, you will find that the definition of it is keeping a higher than usual number of animals without being able to properly house or care for them, while denying this inability.
Animal hoarding is keeping a higher than usual number of animals as domestic pets with the ability to properly care for them, while at the same time denying its inability. Compulsive hoarding can be characterized as a symptom of mental disorder rather than deliberately cruelty towards animals. Hoarders are deeply attached to their animals and find it extremely difficult to let animals go. They typically cannot comprehend what they are harming their pets by failing to provide them with proper care. Hoarders tend to believe that they provide the right amount of care for them. The American Society for Prevention of Animal Cruelty provides hoarding prevention team, which works with hoarders to help them maintain a manageable and healthy number of animals. Okay, so let me ask you this. If they typically cannot comprehend that they are harming their pets by failing to provide the proper care for them, how does Taylor justify apologizing for making a mistake and then feeling guilty about it? Obviously, she comprehended that she had accidentally harmed her animals. So, she's not an animal hoarder. Also, I want to try something quick here.
A strange phenomenon that many find simply unbelievable. Animal hoarding, it's called. Used to live in squalor rather than parting with their pets.
According to ABC News so far, Taylor is not an animal hoarder.
Olga Fedorov watched helplessly as last week investigators removed dozens of animals, dogs, cats, pigeons, even a fox, some alive, many dead, from her Philadelphia home, a place.
Yes, that sounds exactly like Taylor.
Now, imagine I told you about someone who is sometimes too sick to get out of bed or goes on vacation every few weeks, multiple days, that keeps over 50 pets in their messy 2-bedroom apartment. And they don't have an education or any experience with animals outside of 10-minute Google searches and working in a pet store for a few months.
10-minute Google searches? How do you know that it's a 10-minute Google search? I don't think, here's the point I'll make. I don't think she could get enough information about the animal she's talking about from a 10-minute Google search. I will say that. Has she made mistakes and adopted animals impulsively? Yeah, I have too. But you can't get all the information you need off a 10-minute Google search, especially if you're making a 20-minute video about them.
All the animals are kept in bare minimum cages that look like they had leftover decoration thrown in.
Wait.
All the animals are kept in bare minimum cages
Wait.
that look like they had leftover
So this is called bare minimum. Bare minimum? Okay, so if you work in a shelter environment like I do, this is not bare minimum. Bare minimum would be this hide and a water dish. That is bare minimum. This at least has some decoration to it. I will say that could it have more? Absolutely, but this is not bare minimum. I don't think this is bare minimum. That photo behind with the ball python was not bare minimum. The tarantula cage was not bare minimum. That tarantula cage, you should see my tarantula cage. It literally has moss, a hide, and a water plant or water dish. That's all they need. So before you talk about bare minimum, you should first figure out what animals are being kept in there. Here we don't know what's being kept in here. That ball python was being kept in there. It had a bunch of different hides. Again, maybe we don't know the circumstances on why it was kept that way. The tarantula, I think that's the tarantula or it's the scorpion. Either way, they don't require that much decor. That was not bare minimum. Okay, so this snake died shortly after this picture from dehydration. Good job, Taylor. It's not her fault. That one wasn't her fault. It died because the breeder took terrible care of it, and she addressed this in her own video. Of course, this was made before her video, but this was addressed in her video. This snake was severely dehydrated before she got it, so it wasn't her fault anyway. And we're only 40 seconds in, by the way.
And that person is also in a relationship with a known rapist and drug abuser who has threatened
Known rapist and drug abuser?
to flush one of their small kittens down the toilet once, and they admitted to using heroin themselves.
And there's no way of knowing if that was actually them, to be completely honest.
They get up to 10 pets a month. Just to post about them a dozen times and then never mention them again.
Post about them a dozen times, then never mention them again. I've posted videos about my fish right when I get them a lot because you're excited, and then after you're done with that excitement, people want to see something else. Like, I'm not going to post just one picture of my fish every single day. I'm going to post pictures of my bearded dragons, my frogs, myself. So you can't just expect them to continuously post the same content. They're a content creator. They make different content. They can't just post about one single ball python or cheese the entire time. They have to diversify their content to reach a variety of viewers. So you can't judge her for that.
They laugh and make fun of animal abuse and their boyfriend's victims, call the new snake an uncooked noodle just a few days after literally cooking the animals to death with an
I will say this was pretty distasteful. And I know she didn't mean to, or as she claimed she didn't mean to, but it was kind of distasteful.
negligence, and then defend themselves by saying that if they only lost this many animals until now, they are killing it. And that is Taylor Nicole Dean, one of, if not the most well-known content creator in the PetTube community right now. She is young, pretty, and wealthy, which seems to make all the things I've just told you about her okay. If you say that you can't call her a hoarder because she has enough money to take care of her immense number of pets, then please imagine what her life will be like in 50.
No, she's not a hoarder because she doesn't neglect her animals, and she doesn't. I was going to use a double negative. I was going to say she doesn't not, but she does care about her animals' well-being. That video I just showed you from CBS, or ABC, she is not them.
15 years and how fickle YouTube can be, especially because sometimes she only uploads every 3 weeks. Money doesn't last forever, and many of her 16 snakes that she impulsively bought in less than a year can live for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Please ask yourself, if her pets are living in these conditions right now, what will it be like when she...
So, again, that was temporary housing. I have temporary housing too. Some would say keeping a cichlid in a 40-gallon breeder is not a good idea. It's temporary housing. I can treat their ick, which by the way, thank you PetSmart for giving me ick. You know, this is temporary housing. I don't think it's a big deal.
won't have a steady income anymore. All of that is just scratching the surface. In this video, I will try to explain and show you what kind of person Taylor really is. Some of the things actually make me sick to my stomach, but I will get to that later. I will try to talk about the worst things she has done in a chronological order. Kittens, drugs, and her relationship with Johnny Craig.
So, two of those things are none of your business. Just starting off the bat there. Two of those things are not your business. You should not care about those things. If she was putting her animals in harm's way, which I did admit in the other video, maybe smoking in the same room with them was bad, her relationship with Johnny is none of your business. Just plain and simple.
Let's start with the first thing that has turned many of her loyal fans off her channel, including me. In December 2017, Taylor adopted two 2-week-old kittens. Unfortunately, one of them passed away shortly after Taylor took them in.
Common.
She says that it died from fading kitten syndrome, but I don't believe that. In many pictures that Taylor posted of the...
Are you a veterinarian? Do you know anything about kittens? Or are you just making an assumption because you've never dealt with this before? I mean, I think that's probably the answer.
The kittens, you can see her manhandling them and not letting them stay on a heat mat, which kittens that young need constantly.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. I don't...
In addition to that, Taylor has never even
They're not going to sit on a heat mat 24 hours a day. That's impulsively ignorant to say.
Cat. You heard that right. She took in 2-week-old kittens without any experience whatsoever. You will see the savior complex becoming a theme. Many people were also concerned about the surviving kitten, Nemo, for a long time, because he had something called a triangle face, which basically meant that he was very sick too.
And she took them to the vet. Am I the only one that pays attention around here? Hello? Does anybody care? No? Okay, well,
If you take her newly blossoming relationship with Johnny Craig into consideration, it's not that surprising that the kitten died. A few of Johnny's exes leaked messages they have been exchanging with Taylor, in which she...
Which you can't prove are any relation to them whatsoever.
Told them how not only is Johnny still abusive, he also got her hooked on smoking heroin with him. Of course, she publicly defended herself and said that the messages were fake, but...
Again, you can't prove it. Oh my goodness gracious.
Honestly...
The one thing that bugs me is when people get involved in other people's personal lives. If somebody was doing heroin, sure, you can step in and say that this is wrong, but you can't prove she was, and you're using it against her. This is why in the United States we have a court of law that says you're innocent until proven guilty, and she has not been proven guilty.
Why would Johnny's exes fake them? Once the...
Did you have to... Okay, if you had to ask that question, then you probably don't care about the answer.
Point. They have openly spoken about how he is an abusive rapist for years, and at least one of them even has a restraining order on him. The messages are real. Taylor's number is the same as in the screenshots, confirmed by not only her parents, but also...
So, her phone number was leaked?
that document about Nemo. And just look at this clip.
This month is Mother's Day, as Mother's Day is coming up, or it's actually, when I'm posting this, it's gonna be Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day. And Best Fiends is celebrating it too with flowers. So now you can play the Tulip Challenge for Mother's Day and win cool little prizes.
It's possible that she just smoked some weed, or that she was drunk, but with...
Because she's wearing sunglasses? By that definition, because I'm wearing a hat, that means I'm going bald. And I just don't want you guys to know. Or it's because I wanted to wear a hat. Oh my god, this video, now that I know what I know, and because of the videos I've made about it, I see how idiotic a lot of the stuff looks. There are some points that I think are valid, but now I kind of understand why people are watching this video going, oh my god, that was dumb.
All the information I've just given you, how likely is it that...
And I think because of the personal attack she's making on Taylor, it kind of dissolves her point about animal neglect. I'm not going to say Taylor hasn't accidentally killed an animal or neglected them on accident, but I think because of the personal attacks, those points become less powerful.
That she wasn't high on heroin in this. Either way, she is clearly not sober, so everything she has said about Johnny and her being street edge is...
How do you know she was clearly not sober? Are you a drug test? Did you take some of her blood or urine without her consent and test it? You don't know that. You don't.
Bullshit. She has also spoken about how unhappy she is in their relationship in the podcast Reply All, saying that the only time alone she gets at home is when she is bathing. Here are some clips in which she is talking about her relationship with Johnny.
After this, I'm supposed to go back to my boyfriend's where we're staying, and he just texted me that he's at the bar. I'm like, really? Like, everyone in the house left, so now I can't get into the apartment.
Do you feel like you have any time, like, at this point to just kind of, like, be in equilibrium? Like, kind of, is it when you're home?
Somewhat, but not really, because at home, I don't have a lot of time to just chill. First of all, I live with my boyfriend, so I don't have much alone time ever because we're in one apartment together. So he tours, he does music, but when he's not touring, he doesn't leave the house unless like we're both going somewhere.
I wouldn't want to either.
I don't ever have time just to like sit by myself, other than like when I take a bath or something. Like we sleep in the same bed. He's always around constantly, and then I have all my animals that I'm constantly having to think about and feed and take care of and clean everything, and so
makes sense. I don't see how any of that could be used against her. She just said that he's around when he's not touring. He's around when she's at home. She doesn't have a lot of alone time because she has a lot of animals. I don't see how that could be used against her, I guess.
I really suggest you listen to the whole podcast. You really get an insight on what happened
No,
when she didn't
I'm
go
not
to her
going
own
to.
meetup at Playlist Live.
I'm not going to listen to that, sorry.
Shortly after Nemo's sister died, Taylor lied about adopting another kitten. She said that she found a 5.5-week-old kitten.
So, first of all, she didn't lie. Oops. So first of all, she didn't lie. She said that she even people were contacting the person that was selling the cats, and they even said no, they didn't sell them to her. So she didn't lie. She didn't. If you had just, I don't know, asked, she would have told you.
Up at Playlist Live. Shortly after Nemo's sister died, Taylor lied about adopting another kitten.
She didn't lie.
She said that she found a 5.5-week-old kitten in a Petco adoption booth. Not only is it illegal in Texas to adopt out kittens below 8 weeks, the kitten is also a purebred ragdoll, a breed that can cost over $1,000.
So, how do you know it's a purebred ragdoll? Huh? How? Did you do a test on it, a DNA test, to figure out what kind of cat it is? Because I know at the shelter I work at, we don't place breed labels on anything. It could be a purebred Siamese, but we don't know. So we say we don't know. You don't know. So say you don't know. Instead of assuming it's something. You could look at a dog and be like, oh yeah, that's a lab. But it could be a lab mixed with a pit bull. You just never know. So don't assume that you know the species.
And the most obvious proof that she is lying is the fact that everything about the ragdoll kitten is a bit too coincidental with this Craigslist post. I have found this good summary of why it is highly likely that Taylor bought the kitten. On the left here it says,
A little too coincidental, even though they look nothing alike.
as in the Craigslist post, 5 weeks and 4 days equals 5.5 weeks. Same
They
as the
look
kitten she magically
nothing alike other than the eyes. There's nothing that looks alike. They look like kittens. Kittens look like kittens. They're kittens.
found from a rescue. The adoption timeline says that at 6:52 p.m. Taylor says, okay, may have adopted a friend for Nemo. Then 60 minutes later, first looks at kitten, darkness in left pick and flash used in right, dimly lit area. Maybe a car in Denny's parking lot, since that's where the next photo.
Question. Where's the date for this post, right? There's no date for this post. We can see the date on Taylor's Twitter if we went there. But how do we know? I guess I'm just confused on the link they're trying to put here. They're saying it's too coincidental that this ad on Craigslist looks like her kitten, even though they don't look alike, and we don't know the dates or times that this happened.
Photo comes from. Definitely not a well-lit pet store. Johnny's Insta post time changes from 6 hours ago to 7 hours ago between 2:20 a.m. and 2:22 a.m. Means this photo was posted around 7:21 p.m. Note location, which
This
is
is a
the
lot
San
of
Antonio
effort to
Riverwalk.
go through to figure
34
out if
minutes
they
after that
adopted a
Insta
cat or
post,
bought one.
Taylor posts a pic from inside a pet store
Again,
to make it seem like she
They don't look anything like that Craigslist photo. Look at the nose and the ears. They're dark.
adopted from there. Closest pet go to the Riverwalk is shown above. Half an hour travel time makes sense with traffic. Closest PetSmart is further out, but people seem to think it was
This is
Petco.
insane, the amount of effort
If
they
she
went
isn't
through to
trying to
prove
say she
this.
adopted from an actual store, why the fuck take an unvaccinated kitten somewhere it could easily catch something?
Whoa.
Never mind the fact she thinks people are stupid enough.
Whoa, she just dropped the F-bomb. Now, I'm not going to blur that out, but what I will say is that swearing doesn't help prove a point. Just going to point that out.
To believe a pet rescue would do same-day adoptions on a 5.5-week-old kitten during.
Pet rescues do same-day adoption. The shelter I work at adopts out the same day. Mind blown.
The worst time of year for impulse pet buys.
Debunked.
In my opinion, this proves Taylor lies as easy as breathing and doesn't have the best interest of her animals at heart. She and the crap Craigslist breeder chose to take a kitten away from its mom prematurely because of greed.
Chose.
Money for the breeder and cute baby pics from Twitter, YouTube
Or she
thumbnails, merch
adopted
ops,
it because
and
it
the hoarder
was
hired Taylor chases.
homeless.
Nasty. Taylor must really think all of her followers are morons, and apparently many of them either are
Apparently,
or
a lot
just
of
don't care.
her
Because
haters
all of this
are.
blew over, nobody talks about it anymore. As I go on with this video, you will unfortunately see
There's
this
more?
will happen many more times.
Oh my god.
The impulse buyer of her monitor Chronos.
Okay.
A few
this
months
one
later,
is the one I
Taylor
did
excitedly
kind of agree
posted a
with.
video about her new black throat monitor that she had bought a month ago, but kept secret until she released her video of him. A lot
That's
of
how people do
actually knowledgeable people immediately told her in the comments that it is a roughneck monitor. Taylor took the video down right away, of course. After that, she went and complained for days that she can't keep the monitor because he is wild caught, even though that never stopped her before, not even a few weeks earlier when she got her satanic leaf geckos, which the store has said.
So there are a lot of animals out there that have to be wild caught. There are, and I've made a video about this in the past, kind of going along with the aquarium co-op censorship. I don't really believe in wild caught animals, but you have to also understand that a lot of the animals we have in our pet industry start off as wild caught. A lot of the times they're selling them to try to find people who can't actually breed them and make them so they don't no longer have to buy them or catch them from the wild. So I don't blame people for buying wild caught animals. I don't. Do I advocate for it? No. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you literally have no other choice if you really want a specific type of animal, or you want to help try to breed them. So I don't really hold buying wild-caught animals as a reason to hate somebody to this extent.
Themselves are wild caught. You'd think that a bigger problem in this situation would be that she gave an animal the completely wrong care for a whole month, but she most likely invented this wild-caught drama just to distract her.
So she did give the monitor the wrong care for a whole month, but she corrected it right away and the monitor is still alive. So what I will say in Taylor's defense is at least she changed and didn't continue on with the improper care. Was it impulsive to buy an animal, and was it irresponsible to? Yes, and I made a whole video about that, but I will say she did change her care and she adapted and went with it and was able to help this animal out instead of giving it to somebody. If she had given it away and told somebody that it was I don't know, any other type of monitor, they would have given them the wrong care too. So she changed, she still has it, it's doing well. That's all that matters.
Viewers from the actual issue of her not researching the pets she gets beyond the first result on Google. She went on to slander the company that sold her the monitor by saying that they gave her the wrong information. And this is also
true.
another thing about Taylor. Anytime one of her pets die, or she makes a mistake.
So in this situation, the pet store did give her the wrong information. They probably labeled it the wrong thing. That's on them, and that happens all the time. So I definitely, as somebody who's worked in a pet store, blame the pet stores. She has bought animals from breeders who were dying or on the verge of dying, and she blamed the breeders. You know, you have I don't want to say you have to do it, but she did, and that's the way she did it, and that's on her. But what I will say is that I think the way she does it, she has helped a lot of animals, at least in their dying days, feel comfortable, and that's important. Should she stop? Yes, she should, because she's giving those breeders money. But again, you know, she did what she thought was right. You got to give her props for that.
Is the breeder's fault, as seen with her many prematurely dead hedgehogs and later that bearded dragon, for which she even blamed the wrong breeder by name, but I will get to that in a bit.
And I covered that in my
She
video.
kept Chronos, of course, though she kept and keeps them in a very, very minimum conditions. If you don't know about
No.
rough
No.
monitors, they are arboreal and love to climb.
Yes, they are.
Taylor's response to that was getting a tank that is more wide than tall, so he won't be able to climb. Makes sense.
No.
I'm not really that
She said she was
educated
gonna
about
update
monitors,
it.
but he also seems a bit too wrinkly and small to me, considering he's a juvenile by now.
She says, I'm not too familiar with monitors, and then goes on to critique her monitor. Okay.
She has also not made any real effort to tame him, as seen by how he bites her when she sticks her hand in his face. He seemed tame in the beginning, but a lot of people with
There's
experience
a difference between outward aggression and trying to eat. Okay? If he was outwardly aggressive, the moment she opened up that enclosure, he would have been down there trying to attack her. He went for whatever she was holding in her hand and happened to grab onto her finger. My bearded dragon does this. It's not because she's not tame, because she is. It's because sometimes they are really big klutzes. They make mistakes. It happens. I don't think that's a justification for claiming that it's not tame and she doesn't spend enough time with it.
with reptiles said that he's not tame at all, but actually just freezing, which makes him seem more docile.
So, a comment on Instagram that says, I have experience with animals justifies the claim that she's taking terrible care of her monitor. I don't think so.
I am concerned about her other pets, since he will get a decent size and she doesn't even have any concerns about where her cats and other pets go and interact.
I will say that is concerning.
I mean, really. Handling your spider and bearded dragon right next
Also, let me reverse this for a sec.
concerned
Right
about
here,
her other pets,
they kind of
since she will get a decent
look at
size
the
and she doesn't even have any
enclosure.
concerns about where her cats and other pets go and interact. I mean, really.
Look at this enclosure for her monitor. They're going to claim that that's not big enough for her right now, and they say it was an adolescent or juvenile. You're insane. You are. This is huge for an adolescent or juvenile. I know places that the people who keep reptiles for a living, and they keep them in half the size enclosure until they're a little bit bigger. This is huge. She's doing a fantastic job. What I will say that is concerning is that she does have her tarantula right out with her cat. That is concerning. But again, she knows her animals better than we do.
Handling your spider and bearded dragon right next to your cat just
Okay, I introduced my bearded dragon to my sister's cat and her dogs. So,
screams for a disaster to happen. And I doubt she will take any precaution with her monitor if she can't even be bothered to lock her cats out of her animal room.
she was cleaning her enclosures and one walked in. I have walked into my room and found a cat in my bearded dragon enclosure with my bearded dragon. Okay? It happens. Cats are quick, you know? Cats are funny. They do stuff. Blaming her for them going into an empty enclosure is ridiculous. Now, if it had gone into her tarantula terrarium and ate her tarantula, sure, then you can blame her. But it was in an empty terrarium.
The bearded dragon breeder slander. Taylor had
I
gotten
made a
Johnny
video
a bearded
about.
dragon named Twisty shortly after they met. Here's
I
a
like the
picture
name
of
Twisty,
him.
though. I really
Notice how the tip of his tail is dark and straight. And this is Twisty now.
Mm-hmm.
She said that he was in a tub with hundreds of other bearded dragons, many of which seemed unhealthy. She blamed the breeder for breaking Twisty's tail and said that someone without her knowledge would never know what to do. Remember that picture
That's
I showed
true.
you of Twisty? Here it is again.
I don't know if you guys follow Pickle's Pets, but she made a video about her leopard gecko and how she had to take it to the vet to get part of its tail amputated because a piece of skin got stuck around there and cut off the blood circulation. I'm sure that's probably what happened in this situation. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not the vet, so I couldn't tell you. But what I would tell you is a lot of the times those things are unavoidable. The bearded dragon's healthy and happy. That's all that matters. Look at it. It's huge. It's colorful. It's beautiful. And just because it's made part of its tail doesn't mean it was animal abuse.
Half his tail is gone.
Yeah.
This is the supposed wound that Taylor says made that much of his tail rot off.
It does, because if you look at it, you're going to be taking off all of the rotting part, right? You cut it off, and then you still have to cut off parts of the dead skin and dead muscles and dead blood cells that all go up to the tail. So if you're not a vet, don't talk about how much of the tail should be removed. You have to remove more than what you think, because all of this, well, it's not black on the inside, is probably black on the outside is probably black on the inside. It's dead. You have to remove it.
When she got questions about why she didn't do anything sooner, because the only thing that can be done with a necrotic tail is cut off the sick part, she blamed her vet for not doing the right thing. So basically, Taylor
vet
didn't
did
manage
what
to go
they
to
thought
another
was
vet
right.
for a second opinion for half a year, and this caused a bearded dragon's tail to rot off. but
No. No. If you're not a vet, you want to do everything you can to save that tail, right? So you're going to try. If he doesn't save it, you have to remove a little bit more, but at least you tried to save it.
she somehow managed to spin it into, it would have been worse
This
without
video
my
is putting me through a
knowledge.
loop again.
Mistakes are human, it can happen to anyone.
Yeah?
It's actually not even my fault, but the vets for giving me the wrong advice and the breeders because they sold them to me in bad condition. As a result of this, some of her fans looked up the breeder she named and left nasty comments and bad ratings on their pages. The thing is, Taylor blamed the wrong breeder. As a result of this, the wrongfully accused breeder contacted her and asked her to admit to her mistake and clear the name. Taylor didn't respond for months, and once she got threatened with legal action, she promised an apology video. Still waiting for that, by the way. I know that Taylor's uploading schedule isn't the best, but you'd think she would have uploaded by now. It's been 2 months. The rat disaster. Sorry, I don't know how else to title this section. There's just so much wrong with Taylor
really
getting rats.
familiar with rats.
First off,
so
I don't
can't
believe
add
the
too
origin
much
story
input
of
on
how
this
Taylor
part.
got Goose, just like I don't believe the ever-changing story of her supposed stray cat Star, but I won't get into that. What's more important is that she doesn't have the time or space for rats. They need a minimum of 1.5 hours of outside playtime every day. Do you guys really
Full-time
think that
animal
Taylor
caretaker.
has a dedicated player area? And I don't mean her bed, but somewhere they can actually run and climb, or 2, the time and energy for rats. I know how much work they are. I'd put them.
I know a lot of people who have rats. And while I might not know a lot about them, I can tell you that they do play with them a lot, and they're really well cared for. If Taylor has that big cage and she can dedicate at least a half hour of playtime to all 3 of her rats a day, I'm sure they're fine. They're social creatures. That's why a lot of people get 2 rabbits instead of 1, because they are social creatures and they can't always dedicate enough time to them each day. That's the way I see it anyway.
Them on the same level as dogs if you take good care of them. Someone that travels for weeks, every few weeks, isn't a suitable rat parent. One of her mysterious assistants, which I'm pretty sure is mostly just her mom friend, could take care of them when she's gone, but if you put effort into rats, then they love you and miss.
If you go on vacation for a week and you are Taylor Nicole Dean and you found somebody to care for your animals, it's not going to kill them if they don't get enough attention for a week. They're fed, they're watered. Their survival is the utmost importance, and after that, it's kind of optional. I'm not saying that I'm trying to justify this, but when I leave to go on vacation, I have to find somebody to come over here and just feed and turn on the lights, and that's all that I ask. When I come home, I dedicate a little bit more time to making sure everyone's okay. But you can't expect somebody to come over here and go over to her house and take care of all 50 of her animals the way she would, because they're not her. They're not, so you can't judge her on that.
Miss you when you're gone. It's not fair to them. Let's just make a quick list of why it's an awful idea for Taylor to have them. Number 1. They smoke indoors and rats can get sick from just perfume getting sprayed near them. Number
I don't
2,
know about that.
as
I
I
can't.
said, Taylor doesn't have the time or space. Number 3,
I think she does.
She has cats that can easily stick their paws in the bars and either hurt the rats or get hurt by them. Number 4,
Are you aware about how bars work? They're supposed to keep things out and in. Looking at this right now, a cat paw cannot fit through there. Cannot. I can guarantee you, and I would bet everything I have that a cat paw cannot reach through there.
rescued feeders, so they will have awful temperaments. And since Taylor doesn't spend enough time with them to make them trust her, she will get bored very soon and neglect them. In her post, you can see that the girls are still skittish and scared of everything, which means she hasn't
They're
even
gonna
spent
take a
enough time
while.
to socialize them.
It takes a while.
And she's had them for months now.
Months now.
Number 5, and
Sorry.
she doesn't know how
I
to
don't know
gender
why.
rats.
I don't
so
know why that just irritated me when she said she had him for months now. I've had my hamster for 3 months now, and I've tried to hold him every day, and he just isn't tolerant of handling. Every animal's different. Every animal is different, and you can't expect the same behavior you get out of your rats to be what she gets out of hers. And I don't know why this video is just slowly starting to irritate me, because again, I know this video was made before Taylor made her video, but now after kind of knowing all of the information that we know now, it's irritating me that these accusations are so factless. There's no base to them. They're easily crumbled. You can literally think of one thing and instantly her whole argument is out the window. So while I understand that there are concerns about certain aspects, because I still had concerns about certain aspects and still do, these are more personal attacks rather than pointing out animal neglect or abuse. Again, personal attacks are never welcomed, and I don't think that these personal attacks justify this whole video. I don't think they do.
She ended up with Goose being a boy and 2 girls.
Okay?
Anyone with some common sense would have either given away all the rats or at least the girls and got more boys,
Why?
but Taylor seems to have other plans. Those
Why?
plans being just letting them stay together for weeks when they are all sexually mature and unneutered. Yes, she said that Goose had an appointment to get neutered early October, but then why can you still see his testicles just blatantly being there? Even if she did.
So when you neuter an animal and you take away their testicles, that sac still remains there. It takes a while for it to heal up and eventually shrivel up. So saying that he got neutered months ago, but you can still see the testicles there, you can't see the testicles there, you can see the sac. You can see the sac, and the sac sometimes takes a while to go back. When mothers have their babies, like a dog, let's say for example, the teats grow extremely large, right? And sometimes they droop down. It takes a while for that stomach and abdominal area to go back to where it was, if it will ever go back to where it was. There's no guaranteed skin. Skin's the largest organ on your body. So that's not a good argument. That doesn't justify anything.
Males take around 4 weeks until they are sterile, and it's risky to spay girls at such a young age. Taylor is basically asking for baby rats to breed more baby rats. It's just all kinds of screwed up. This is like letting 10-year-old kids get babies because you don't care enough to do the right thing and separating them.
10-year-olds can't have children. They're not sexually mature. Just pointing that out.
And rats don't get just 2 babies. They can have litter sizes of up to 14.
Again, if she wanted to breed them, maybe for snake food, that's a valid and justified reason. Not saying it's good, like I would do it, I couldn't do it. But if she did, that's her business, not ours. If she wanted to breed
She has
them.
2 girls, so she can end up with 28 rat babies she can't care for. I have a
How do
huge
you know she
soft spot
can't?
for rats, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I
Very
really think that this
biased.
is one of the worst and most neglectful things Taylor has done up until now. Seeing her update
You taking 3 rats from a potentially dangerous situation where they would be eaten, put them in a large cage, hang out with them, make videos about them, never make them worry if their lives are going to end the next day, is the most neglectful thing that she has done so far. What?
about her rats just make me sad. From the barren cage she had them in for months,
Barren cage. Barren cage.
that wasn't even suitable for non-weaned baby rats,
What?
to the whole possible oops litter she is almost asking for, to them being shoved aside for the new flavor of the month.
You know, this kind of goes back to my amino video where I talk about sometimes people go overboard in what they think is proper animal care, and I think this is one of those situations where she's going way overboard.
That time she cooked her pets. Mid-October, Taylor posted a long story about how her Pac-Man frog and skinks unfortunately passed away. Basically what she says happened is that the electricity in her animal room malfunctioned.
And this
while
is
she
kind of where I
slept
got
for
my
12
opinion
hours.
about the situation from.
After she woke up, she turned it back on and then didn't think to check for another 10 hours whether everything was going well. It wasn't. The heat mats malfunctioned and cooked both her crocodile skinks and Pac-Man frog until they died. So
Till they
basically she
died.
keeps talking about how she can take care of her horde because it's her job. But there's one time it actually counts. She only checks on her pets once in 22 hours. That itself just screams negligence, and I really don't get how everyone can tell her that it's not her fault when it so clearly is. Mistakes are human, but if a life, not to mention 50 lives, depend on you, then you can't make a mistake like this.
I tend to
Not
agree
only
with
was
that.
it her fault for not checking, but her number of pets is also a direct cause that made this happen. She had too many things plugged into a circuit that made it overload. She could have caused a fire. She should have at least told her assistant to check for her if she knew she'd be out for 10 hours. The thing with this is, her explanation doesn't make any sense. First off, croc skinks are like crested geckos in the sense that they like room temperatures of 22 degrees Celsius, so they wouldn't even need a heat mat during the day since Taylor lives in
I
Texas.
think it's cold.
Even if they did, when
If they needed a heat mat, probably because she had her air conditioning on, because she lives in Texas.
heat mats malfunction, they have a safety switch that makes them turn off rather than heat it up more and more.
Not true. Have you ever read the back of a heat mat? On the back, it says, please unplug or it will overheat.
Someone on Twitter sent out tweets more than 10 hours before Taylor published the story, implying that some pet tubers are bad and neglectful of their animals. She later came out and admitted that those tweets were a reaction to being told that the skinks and frog died from neglect and that Taylor planned to replace them without telling anyone.
She said this is untrue.
I know this person didn't have a lot of proof, and of course Taylor was quick to defend herself, but I'm inclined to believe her. In many pictures Taylor posts, you can see bone-dry water bowls, so her skinks could have easily died.
Or she was going to fill them.
From dehydration.
I know it seems like I am really defending Taylor here because I'm just getting so annoyed with this video because there are just so many things that this person doesn't know about, and there's so many things that this person is assuming, and I just can't stop her from making those assumptions. And this video has so many views that there are probably 500,000 people who think Taylor's a bad person, and through my video series we have proven that she's not actually a terrible person. So I think that's why I'm just getting irritated right now.
Her Pac-Man frog has been looking sick for a long time. Since we know that Taylor has shown that she doesn't even dust her pet's feeders with calcium, I wouldn't say it's a reach to say that he died from malnutrition. A picture of him she posted shows that, compared to healthy frogs, he had a very strange round face shape.
Genetics.
When it should have been more of a snout. The most damning evidence, though, is that Taylor reached out to a crocodile skin breeder before she even said that they had died.
She liked the message. She liked the post. It wasn't
In an Instagram story,
private.
Taylor posted one of her schedules and it clearly mentions a croc skink, even though they have already been dead at that time. The weird thing
The
is that
new
Taylor often
ones.
makes fun of people saying that her pets are dead because she hasn't shown them in a few months. But recently she has proven that it's a very real possibility. First with the cook pets, and now with her mantis shrimp that she had only mentioned once, and also her fan favorite Zazu the lionfish. She says that she couldn't admit to him being dead for months because it really hurts her, but
Probably
then she
does.
says in an Instagram comment that he was just a fish? What? He was once one of the stars of her channel next to Cheese, but now she tells people not to be upset because whatever, fish don't matter.
No, but fish are very sensitive and die very easily.
Apparently it doesn't even matter that he didn't even turn 3, even though his life expectancy was 10 years. Because for some reason
Mistakes were made.
everyone always tells her what an animal goddess she is, even if they don't know her. I'm pretty sure that she makes a habit out of faking emails to herself, but that might just be me being cynical. Thank you so much for watching if you've gotten this far.
And biased.
Please know that none of this is coming from a place of pure hate.
Yes, it is.
I'm mostly just
All of
concerned
it.
about her animals and the effect she can have on young viewers.
It
Who
does
might
not
think that
sound
it's
like
alright
it.
to get pets just like she does when they can't or don't even know how to care for them. I used to be one of Taylor's fans and thought she knew what she was doing. But I slowly learned more about the animals she keeps and I realized that there is a lot to improve. Sadly, she is refusing to listen to any criticism, so I hope that with this video I could at least reach a few people and make them realize that you can't follow people blindly and just assume they are professionals. Thank you again for watching.
Oh dear lordy. Oh boy, that video was something else. So,
Higher than usual number of animals.
So what I will say about this video, and I think it's important, is that I don't think it's right. I think a lot of it's wrong. I think a lot of it is just her being hateful and judgmental towards Taylor. There are some points that I do quote in my other video that I think are important. I think that it has started a catalyst to kind of talk about animal care in the YouTube community, and I think it's a great conversation starter, but I don't want people to think that this is who she is, because I don't believe that's who she is. I have been a pretty loud critic against her, but I've also been a pretty strong critic for her. She, I think, in her mind, takes really good care of her animals. I think that we can see she does try her best, but she at the same time does make mistakes that sometimes, unfortunately, cost the life of her animal. With that being said, I don't think that we should treat her the way that this person did and dig into her personal life and try to destroy her. I think that she's made a mistake, she's apologized for it, and she said she'd moved on, and I do believe that she has learned from her mistake. So with that being said, I think this is going to be my absolute bottom line end Taylor video, because I don't think there is anything else to talk about this situation. If there's another video or something else that comes up in the future, we can definitely revisit it, but for now, this is going to be the very last video I make on this topic, because now it's just starting to become redundant. I know for me, it's starting to drive me nuts, because people don't know who she is because we only see what's in front of the camera, and I've said this a million times. So we need to focus on fixing ourselves and fixing our care and fixing the community as a whole, and kind of looking at different situations differently. But that's just my opinion anyway. So with that being said, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.